Okay. Sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go.
and we are recording. Sure, everyone. Sorry, we were just checking through some technical stuff. Thanks for joining tonight. This is webinar 2. Can you see my presentation screen? That's the most important question. If I could have a nod, awesome. Thanks, Jean. So tonight is the practical admin session, and we're focusing on what you can do in the group admin view to make managing learning for your group easier. For those of you that haven't met me before, I'm Chrissy Schreiber. I'm the learning experience developer in the training development team, and I look after the resources that are available in the Learning Hub. And I've also been a land search and rescue volunteer for the last 18 years and have been involved in local training. Right, let's have a look at what we've covered tonight. So first of all, we look at managing learners. So finding a member and viewing their training. Then we're going to look at assigning training, specifically assigning training to an individual member, but then also we're looking at the big time saver, how to assign training in bulk. And then lastly, I show you how you can run reports where you can check progress of your members. And you can also save those reports so that they are automated and go directly to your email so that you don't have to check on a regular basis. As we go through, because I sort of have a walkthrough in my head, and if you do have any questions during that session, if you could put them into the Q&A, and I will pick them up at the end of the session for any questions that I have not answered through my walkthrough. Great. So let's get into this. Actually, I should say, because there's a whole bunch of people that were not in the last session. So if anything that I'm covering today might confuse you or you're unfamiliar, what I would recommend is go and have a look at the recording from the very first session, as it gives a really good overview what's available in the Learning Hub, because today's session will really show you how you work it. So before I go into the live demonstration, I thought it might be useful to understand that as a group admin in the Learning Hub, you have 2 different views. So I've taken here the screenshots of what your view looks like as a learner. And then on the other hand, when you're switching, you have a different view as a group admin. So as a learner, you have access to all your own learning. You can see the training library and the resource library and the courses that you completed yourself. Whereas when you're switching into the group admin, you see that the navigation here at the top is very different. So you have access to your learners, your members, and then training that's available. So that's where you're assigning the training. And then you have a section where you can run reports on your learners. And when you connect into the Learning Hub, and so I thought I'd highlight this because there's a few people that have not used the function. So when you going into the Learning Hub, you have 2 switch buttons where you can go and jump into the admin view. So there's orange button there, and you can also change here at the top. And that view is always available also when you're in the learner view. So when you're in your own learner view, you are able to switch into the admin view, or if you're in the admin view, you can switch back into the learner's view. What I want to just quickly note on this, just with access, because there's a bit confusion around it. So for the Learning Hub access, the way it is currently set up, that people that are set up in our system as group training officers, they will automatically have assigned that switch button, so that access in the Learning Hub. But if you are, for instance, a secretary and you have normally access in the members portal, you won't have access here in the Learning Hub. It's just a setting how when we started the whole software component there, that's how it was set up. So we can add, however, anyone in your group as additional admin person in the Learning Hub. So if you just drop me an email, if you like additional people added, or for any of those of you tonight that are involved in training, but when I go through the switches and you're realizing you don't have to switch, just drop me an email or drop your GVS an email and we can get that sorted for you. So that can be a little bit confusing. So I thought I'd just make sure that that's clear, that the access is slightly different. Okay, so let's jump into this. So that's where I'm just swapping my screens. Just bear with me for a second. All right, so to get into the Learning Hub, you just sign in through the members portal. And then you can either click here on My Learning, or you can also access it through the training component of the portal. So yeah, here we are. So there's my my learner account, and I will switch now into the sub-org account. And let's have a look at the first option that you have. So is managing the learners. So there's only one button. So when I click on manage my learners, what I can do here is the easiest option is by searching for your member by either name, or you can also select email address. So let's have a look. We're using myself today as an example. So when I then look at Chrissy here, I've got various options in this view. So when I click on the drop-down box here, I will show you the main two functions really that you need in this. So one of them being view training. So let's have a look at this one. So when I click on view training, it gives me all the courses, e-learning components that Chrissy has completed. And here I can check her progress on the different courses. So it gives me an overview which ones are completed. It says completed, and there's also a little certificate next to it. It shows me the courses that are still in progress. So there's a couple here. For instance, here was the D4H one. It says in progress. The first one is completed. The second one is not started yet. The reason behind that is it's still in development, but you get the idea that I can check here where they're at. The other component that I can do here is, so say I enrolled Chrissy in this particular course here, and I see, okay, she signed up, or I enrolled her a while ago and she hasn't completed it. As a group admin, I can trigger a send incomplete course reminder to her. So especially that's quite relevant if you, for instance, have signed up new members to onboarding courses and they have not completed them, then you can use that option. As a default, the system will send each member that starts a course a incomplete reminder after 2 weeks and 60 days, but then the system doesn't send any further incompletion emails out. So if you do want to trigger some, you do have the option here. If I go back, the other function here that's really handy is assigning training. So if we stick with that example, say Chrissy is a new member and I would like her to complete some of the online learnings that give her the some of the competencies for probationary member. So I would find them under the induction. So I can click on induction, and then if I go into view courses, it gives me the option to now enroll her into any of those courses. So as I showed last time, like each of those courses will show you really handy, like which competencies they cover. And so in this case, what I'm going to do, I would like Chrissy to do, because those are automatically awarded, those competencies, I pretty much will sign her up for 66, competency 11, 190, and also get her to do the competency that includes the code of conduct, because that saves me a lot of work, because those modules will explain those components to her. So I click enroll. There you go, and it brings me back to the screen. I will need to jump back into assign training, and then I have to do the same thing for the other courses. So when you see here, so you go back. So once I have assigned a course, for my view as a group admin, it will tell me that this course is now allocated to the learner. What I will also do is I just show you, if I go back into the learner's view and I go now as Chrissy into my training, I can see when I click in progress not started, those courses that I have just allocated to her or to myself, they are pretty much here, and so they are now available for the member to complete. So that's the way how I can, if it is just a specific learner, how I can enroll one course or various courses to one learner. Now, if I go back to the group admin, now what I'm going to show you is the big time saver. And so a way I would use it in our group, for instance, so say if we have a GPS training night coming up where we're going to assess our members if they're competent with the use of the GPS, and I do not want to run a training component of that, teaching them again how to use it, what I can do is I can bulk assign the GPS e-learning module to my members. And so what I do this time, I go to training, and then you have here the assign training in bulk. So I will click on that. And then I have the option to select from any of those course categories what I would like to do. So the GPS module is in the field team member. I click on view courses. For those of you that have been at the last session, you can see here I've made some minor change. I added to the picture of each of the courses, and also I added it into the description which field team member competency this applies to. So we discussed whether to have possibly two categories, field team and suburban, but the feedback that I had from a few of you that often we have so small teams that there is not a particular group that will be just doing suburban. So I've gone for a mixed option, and hopefully this makes it a little bit easier for you all to find it, and also for our volunteers. So let's go to the GPS one. Here it is. So this time I do the same. I go and do assign, and then it comes up with all my members in my group. And so I quite like using the bulk assign because it gives me the option, knowing members that are ASU, IMT, or maybe dog handlers, or that will not come to this particular training. So it gives me the options to now assign the training individually by just literally ticking the boxes to the members that I would like to complete it. You can also see here that some members, like say here Nick, has already completed it. So I have the option, because I can override it. Even though he has completed it, I can make him do that again if I think it's relevant for this particular session. And then the system also gives me the option to send a notification to them by email. So the way I, for example, would use it is say we just had a training night and our next training night is coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. And I know that this particular training night will be on ropes or GPSs. I would then jump into this part here and then already enroll the members for the next session. So to give them time when they have time in the next couple of weeks to complete that module whenever it fits for them. So then when we're running the training night that they have completed it. Saying that, all our members are humans, so even if I'm assigning it to them and go, hey, it would be handy that you're doing that, there will be always members that don't complete it, but our group has found those e-learning modules really helpful because they are relatively short. They're designed for sort of like 20 or 30 minutes, and the idea is that they are a quick refresher of that particular competency. So then when they come to training, it saves me going through all the theory, and I might still have to pick up on some theory. There might be some questions from the e-learning module where for newer members maybe not so clear, and I can cover those, and then we can jump into the practical part of the training. And then all I need to do for the bulk assign is pretty much click assign, and then what will happen is the training, unlike with the individual, it doesn't happen immediately. It will need the overnight. So if I was to do this now and then check tomorrow morning, everyone will be enrolled in this specific module. If I have a couple of modules that I want to enroll in, bear in mind that every time I'm doing one, it needs an overnight sync. So say if I'm enrolling my members into GPS and I'm also doing radio, that would be a 2-night process because the system can only process one module overnight. Just something to keep in mind. So that's how you use this particular function. What else was I? And the other thing here is when I go back to the learner view, because I said I will only focus on the 2 most important buttons, so view training and assign training, which I've covered. There's other functions down here that are about you can attach documents to Learner and you can also send them an email, but I personally find you probably have better communication channels or keeping track of any records from your member. So I personally don't use it, but if there's anyone here that feels like this could be useful, just drop me a message and I can provide you with information how you can use it. You also see here, you can edit your member and you can archive your learner. Please don't use those functions because the main source of truth is all sitting in the member portal, which is attached to the database that we're using in the national office. And so any changes you're making here will not be captured in the database. So you would need to make that step twice. Yes, just something to keep in mind. And then now to loop what I have just done back to say you are running that GPS training, what you can do, or what we do in our group, we find that quite useful is, so with all of the field team member competencies that exist, we have in the resource library under group lesson plans, training plans and assessment plans set out for you that you can pull off there and you can use them to run the training. So if I use the GPS one as an example, so say, so this is some ideas how I can, as a group, I can assess to navigate using the GPS. And so it gives me setup instructions, what I need to run that training night, and then what I need for the assessor, what each of the members will need. And then it describes down here specifically the assessment task. And then if I scroll further down, for the assessors, it also provides a sheet to show what we are looking for when a member demonstrates that particular skill. The other thing that's on the sheet, so I quite like printing them off. You can then also scribble here at the top. You can scribble the member's name down here, and then as they demonstrate those different components, you can literally tick that off. And then at the end of your training next day, or however you're currently doing your recording, you can use that information then to load it up into the members portal. And so most of our competencies, like this one here, they all have elements of demonstrate. Sorry, I went too fast. So if I go back here, so here there's specific skills where our members need to show, so that the demonstrate part, that they are competent at using the radio or using the GPS. And so because they are practical components with the e-learning, I can only provide the theory with the e-learning and help our members to remember what the core parts are that they need to remember. And then it's in your hands to then assess them that they're competent, and that also you in the group are confident to actually sign them off on the competency. Yeah, it's worth noting that there are a whole bunch of competencies in the framework that we can automatically assess because they are worded slightly different. They describe and so that can be assessed with a quiz. So what I have done, and I showed this last time, and I thought I show it again. It was initially for my own eyes only. I created for myself a spreadsheet that I knew which e-learning module covers which competency. And so I've done a little bit of work from feedback from a lot of you guys over the last few weeks, and have now color-coded which of the competency that are assessed by an e-learning module and then automatically upload to the members portal. So you will see them, the ones that fall under that, they are all green. So that's predominantly the probationary ones, but under the field team member category, there are quite a few as well that are assessed with a quiz, but you will see that there's also the practical components. And then for all the ones where we have the practical components, we have created a training plan, assessment plan to help you. And with any of those training and assessment plans, so they're in the Word document, so you can adapt them to your training, and then you can reuse them every time you're running that training session. So if you find the spreadsheet here useful, I'm happy to share this spreadsheet after the session. It has all the different, it's organized by the categories, like the Learning Hub is laid out. And what I have done as well is, because some of the competencies, particular with IMT, depending on like how you're going into IMT, some of the roles, they cross-credited. So I've done under the field team member category. I'm included all of them and have put a yes here. So which components would be assessed and to which role it fits. And at the bottom, I have also included in a different color which e-learning modules will come out later in the year. So there will be suburban rolling out in sort of like later in the year, and then also there will be a whole bunch of IMT e-learning modules that will be coming out as well. I'm just looking at Rob's question here. Is there a way to select all the learners in bulk assigning, or do you have to go down the list ticking each? No, you will need to tick each, because there is no way for us in the Learning Hub to set up the individual subgroups. So say you have all your members and then you can't sort of group them and have IMT, or you have a group that's, dog handlers or Wonder Search. And so therefore, yeah, you have the entire list, but hoping that you would know what your members functions are. Yeah, you will need to select them on that basis. So sorry, yeah, there is no one hits all button. Yeah, so that's that spreadsheet. So if I go back to here, so the last function that we have is the reports. And here we go. Before I jump into the report, so one thing that has also come up as a question before is, so how do those reports fit into the bigger reports? Because you guys get provided with reports from the GBS team, and you can also download the competency from the member portal. So the reports here are specific to the Learning Hub. So you can look at which courses have been completed by your members. And so for instance, where I personally find it really handy is like with those onboarding courses, or if you pre-assigning a course before a training session. And so let's just use a specific example. So say I used last year, we had helicopter training, and so we wanted all our members that attended the helicopter training to complete the helicopter module, because it has really good safety videos in the end explaining the different features. And so say I've done that. So say in my part 2 weeks prior, I assigned the e-learning modules to my members. Now it's the day of the running of the practical training, and I want to check who actually has completed it. So what I can do is, so this is how you land on the page. So I can then use filters to specifically select a course. What it always will do by auto default, it will always select all the courses that are currently on the Learning Hub, and it would run a report on who has completed them and who has them currently in process. But yeah, let's go with that scenario. I want to specifically check who's done the fundamentals of helicopter safety. So I click that as a course. I then also go and select, I want to see who completed it. And then because the training was last year, I'm going to change the time frame, because I know probably hardly any members have done that over the last month. So the training was in June last year. So I'm going to put it in May, because I did enroll them in May at some stage. And then I'm going to hit submit. And now it shows me, I just make this a little bit smaller. It shows me all the members that have completed the course, and it also gives me the date when they have completed it. And so with The e-learning modules, it's the same as with, I guess, the practical component. The modules are linked into the time frame when the currency is due to expire. So it also gives me here the dates when it will expire. So to run, the next session. You might have more regular training sessions, but yeah, it's just as set as the default what it is in the competency framework. So that is an example how I would use it. Another example how I use it is so automating the reports. So say a big one for me is when we have new members starting and say I've gone through the option and assigned them onboarding courses that I want to complete, and I just literally want to know if they have completed it. So what I can do is I do the same thing. I go through my filters. So in this case, I'm going back into the modules that are available, and I click now being a land search and rescue volunteer is one of them. I click, what else we got? Introduction to land search and rescue and media awareness. And there's one more, safety and well-being for land search and rescue members. So that's competency 190, 11, 67, and 66. And then I'm going to set up, set this as, where do we have the last 30 days? So I set it at a month. So I get to check it, who has completed it in the last 30 days. And then I have the option when I go further down here, it says save report on submit. So I will tick this. And then it gives me the option that I can give it a name. So in this case, I would call it onboarding. Onboarding courses. And then I can set a schedule. And so here I can choose how often I would like this report to be sent to me. So in this case, I go monthly. And then I can put my email in here. And then I can also add other people. So if you have a second person that you think in your that helps with the training and that is this relevant to, I can literally do the same thing. I can set it up monthly, and then I can add their email address there. And then when I hit submit, let's hit submit. So that has then now saved the report. And so I've prepared for this. So let's go to my inbox. And I'll pull this over. Does everyone see my inbox? The email? Yeah. Okay, so then so I had this report sent to me. So I didn't have to go back to check for it. And now I can go download the report. Sorry, and it's opening on the other screen. Where did it go? Yeah, sorry. And then it gives me all my members with their names, their email address, and their DSR ID here, and it tells me when they have completed it. With those courses, remember they are automatically uploaded to the member portal, but it gives me a quick report that I can see, okay, they've completed it, and I can also see who hasn't completed it, and I can shoulder tap them and say, hey, you enrolled, you should complete it, or I can go back into the Learning Hub and also send them an reminder email to send a report. So yeah, and that is pretty much what I wanted to show you guys tonight. So we have plenty of time for any further questions, and I think there are some. So I stop sharing. When updating the competency record under group admin manually, the course training session date cannot be edited default to today's date. Oh, I'm not too sure. Joe, maybe we unmute you. Where are you? And then you can explain. Hang on, I find you. Hang on, here you are. There you go. Oh, no.
Unmute. That's it.
Yeah, here we go.
These ones you've shown us have shown automatic updates with IMT training. Some of it from observation. I need to update under group admin in the SAR portal.
Yes.
Choose that competency and then put the attendees against it from the training night.
Yeah.
I can't change that training night, and sometimes I'm backdating. Like I'm not doing it that night, 10 o'clock, I get home.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yep. No, I'm with you. On that, I will need you to pass it probably on to maybe ask your GVS, because I'm more the e-learning girl and I'm all over that in terms of the, what's the date? Because I don't know. Maybe Shannon, can you answer that question? Throwing it in your court?
Fiona, our GVS said she doesn't believe I can, so I just had to put it,
Yeah.
leave the today's date, but it's not really accurate. An example is first aid courses from outside being done, and
Right,
then
and you putting them in. Yeah, I mean, I can look, I write it down as a note and I go back to our tech team and see if there is something that we can do or if there is a setting. But yeah, I have to confess, I'm really not over the members portal as much as I'm over the learning
that's
hub.
right.
Yeah.
No problem. Yeah.
Any other questions? No one. No? Stacy. All right, Jules. You back. How allow. Here we go. Oh, Shannon, we're playing. You go, Shannon. I think you can unmute yourself, Jules. No. No. Hang on. Try now.
Cool, thanks. I couldn't put something in the chat, sorry. So I'm just going to go back to when you were talking about the one module processing overnight. So
Yes.
if we had a bunch of newbies coming in and we wanted to do some of the introductory courses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what counts? Can you remind me what counts as a module?
Yeah, so say if you let me bring up that spreadsheet. So say so for the induction, yeah, so say for the induction for your new guys and you wanted to assign all 4 of those to them, what you would need to do is you can do it in one night, so you can sit there and do it, but the way the system works, it will process only one course overnight. So meaning even if you're doing it on Wednesday, you can then Wednesday you have them all up on Sunday, so it will only process one course at a time.
Cool, okay.
It has happened to me. I actually learned it the hard way. We had a couple of training nights and I was going on leave and I was like, oh, I quickly signed them up, and then I was sitting on the plane and I was checking and it was like, oh my God, it has not added the radio one. What's happening? And yeah, and then I went to eTrainU and it's the way it processes. It's the same as well if any of you guys had a new member. So the member will only show up in the Learning Hub a day after it's been actually entered into the system. It's just like the way the system communicates, and yeah, it can only process one at a time. Hope that makes it a little bit clearer. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Good question. Also, yeah, if anyone would like, I had recently some really good conversations in terms of like how we running some of the trainings in our group. If anyone wants a knowledge share or some ideas like how to run some of the trainings, I can go into that as well if people have an interest there. Jean, yes. Hang on, I need to go back to the other screen to find you. There you are. Here you go. You should be able to unmute yourself now. If you click on the microphone, does it work? No? Shannon?
It should work now. It should work now. Yeah.
It should
if
work.
she goes up to her mic and pushes.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
There you are. Yeah.
I was clicking on the mic on my photo, not the one up there. I put
That's
a
all good.
question in,
Oh,
Chrissy,
did you? Sorry.
where do we find the part 1 recording of
Oh, the
tonight?
part 1.
Because I missed
The-
it, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all good. You find I can send it out again to tomorrow with the new one, but you can also find it in the Learning Hub. So in the Learning Hub, there's actually quite a few resources for everyone that does the group admin. So if you go to resources and you go to Learning Hub user guides, it's here. So that's the video from last recording, from last time. But the other one that's really handy and goes through a lot of the things that are covered tonight with screenshots is in the group admin training officers user guide. That sort of goes through that. If you prefer to have a visual next to you, that goes through most of those things that are covered as well. No worries. Was there another question? Oh, Sam, sorry, I missed you. Schedule report button is again. Yep, sure. So if I go back into the reports and then so if you go all the way to the bottom, you select your date here, and then here, oh, I need to give it a name. Yep. Let's pick this one. Course completion, and then here, it's at the bottom. So you need to select your courses completed, and then it shows up at the bottom. And when you click save, it will give you the option where you can give it a name, and you can also put in here how often you do want those sent to you. And then that's also as a screenshot in the user manual if anyone wants to have a different visual of that. And yeah, those I find really the most valuable. There's other ones in here too, user log and active learner. But yeah, in terms of the data that we all need to see what people have done or not done, yeah, they're not necessarily most valuable. The other thing, I guess, that I wanted to put out there, and again, because last time I asked a lot of you guys for like ideas, so I have made changes to the way the training library is now sort of set up. So what I've added after our last session is I introduced some blurb, but really the big change is that in the field team member category, hoping that this is more now visible, who this is for. And actually, that reminds me of another question that has come in. So, for instance, under the supporting emergency management category, which will be growing more and more over the coming year, you will find that there is the SIMS module, or modules, I should say, that are also in the IMT category. And then there's also the river and flood safety one, which is in the field team category. So if someone completes them either here or in the IMT or in the field team category, they all get awarded the same competencies. It's just that when we set those up, we thought that those are valuable to people that work in a supporting emergency management space, and then especially the river safety has a special component on the flood response, which seems to be becoming quite relevant. And so we included it here as well, because not everyone might be a field team member or might be in IMT and therefore aware of the SIMS structure. And then, the other thing, I guess, in terms of training, what I was going to put out there, what has really worked for us as a group is to come up with a training plan, maybe a few months in advance, and think about what are some of the competencies that you need to cover as a group, and then put it out to also team leaders and to actually organize the training. So where those lesson plans, you running or looking after the training and your members, you can adjust it so that it fits your own group. And then we found that, some of the team leaders, they actually really love if they can run a training night, and they've given a plan, and they also know that they don't have to do the training delivery, because we can combine it with signing them up for the e-learning. So they know that part is taken care of, and they're more the practical people. And so they can run the training, and it has helped us in our group to sort of share that training burden and fatigue around a little bit, so that not every time the same people have to run the training, and that seems to work quite well. But I also found there are people in our group that absolutely are not into the online learning, and that's fine too. And that is accepting that, because not everyone likes a computer or staring at a computer, or also there's a lot of things that can scare people when you're going online. And then it's trying to think of ways, if you do use the e-learning, how can you team them up with someone that has done the e-learning? Could there be two people doing it together? And I think that's something that I mentioned last time. Or amongst yourself as well, like if this whole part and the lots of clicking and the online part does sort of put you off a little bit. Is there someone else in your group that could potentially do those components for you, like enroll your members in the courses and do that technological part for you, and you can focus on the training components? Just as a few ideas. That's it from my end. If there's no question, I'll give you guys your evening back, and thank you very much. And I hope, this is giving you some other ideas and helping you with the training and giving you some time back. That you don't have to spend on thinking about training or teaching. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And thanks, Robbie. If there's anything, don't be a stranger. Also, if you do find any errors in e-learning, please drop me an email. Let me know. You can either email me directly or through the Learning Hub. That all comes to me. I'm not an AI, so I will make errors, even though we have a ton of tutors and subject matter experts going through it, but mistakes do happen. So yeah, let us know. Or if there's anything else that you can think of, Joe, your feedback there, I will pass that on. If there's anything else where we can help and make your life easier, yeah, let us know. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye.